Hello and welcome to the University of Law. This is the first in a series. I'm guessing it's going to be a 10 or 11 part series, which has been requested by viewers of the channel, which is where to start with Big Finish. So my original plan was to cram the first four Doctors into one video, and I started recording the video and I stopped and had to start again because I realised very quickly that actually there was enough material for the first Doctor in one video. So yeah, the idea is each session I'm going to talk to you about where to start. I know some people find it overwhelming about where to start. If you're a completist, to be honest, if you want all of it, it's just going to be building a collection over time. But if you just want to kind of know where's a nice sort of place to begin and kind of start from without having to go all the way back or buy everything, just are there any arcs I'd recommend where to start? Well, this is the right place, and that's what I'm going to be talking through. So, if you want to be honest, the first four Doctors, there's not really a definitive starting place. To be honest, most of the catalogue you could listen to in isolation, and that's why I thought I'd cram them into one video. But actually, there's plenty of starting points that you can use and recommendations I'd have within the first Doctor era. So first of all, don't be blown away by all the different ranges and spin-offs like Main Range, Dark Eyes, the Fourth Doctor Adventures, the Eighth Doctor Adventures. Don't worry about all that. Simply go to the collections page. So first Doctor collection, second Doctor collection. Look at the Doctor of interest and have a look at what's there and kind of do it in coordination with these videos that I'm producing. So in terms of the first Doctor, again, you can listen to most of the stuff. Certainly the stuff pre kind of 2022, you can listen to most of it in absolute isolation. I'd certainly recommend The Rocket Men, which is a companion chronicle with the first Doctor and his original crew. Well, at least Ian and Barbara. I think it's Ian, Barbara and Vicki, actually. That's a really good story, and its sequel is even better, Return of the Rocket Men, which is a Stephen story, and for me, the Stephen audios are the best of that the first Doctor Big Finish output has to offer. It's such a shame that so much of Stephen's television material is now lost. I love that character so much, and it's great to see Peter Purves continuing to develop the part, and there's so much potential and meat there on television that really gets, developed in the audio dramas. So I definitely recommend that stuff. And also, it's not quite out of place with your experience of things like Season 3, which is when a lot of these audios are set, because most of Season 3 currently you have to listen to anyway on CD for the official releases. So actually, it's not out of place to listen to adventures set in that season, because that's usually your experience of things like the Mythmakers and things like the Massacre. So I'd recommend anything with Stephen in. There's a great trilogy called the Oliver Harper trilogy, set after Dalek's Master Plan, but just before the Massacre. It's a great trilogy. Really recommend that. You just buy them in release order. They're companion chronicles, and it's the three with Oliver Harper in. I'll list all of this in the comment section. That's really good. That's really strong. And there's also some links of that into a story called The Locked Room, which is in one of the companion chronicle box sets. It might be the first Doctor Volume 2, I think. I'll have to check that. But the Locked Room kind of ties up some of the stuff from the Oliver Harper trilogy, but it's kind of a nice add-on rather than an essential. Also, there's some great audios with Sarah Kingdom set within Dalek's Master Plan, and again, they're companion chronicles and early adventures. You simply need to purchase them in release order and listen to them in release order. So I'd highly recommend those. There's a great one about the Centaurans, which kind of wraps it all up and brings it back round to Dalek's Master Plan. So I've kind of talked about Companion Chronicles is one of the ranges. I've spoken about that, and Early Adventures. There's a great Early Adventures series. I think it's the 5th season. Usually, what would happen in an Early Adventures series is that each story would have a different kind of era of the first Doctor. So there'd be like one with the original crew with Susan, one with Vicki, one with Stephen, one with Ben and Polly, and it would kind of you get a little taste. So again, the whole idea is that you could just dip in with the ones that took your fancy. But they did one season, I think it's season 5, where it's set between. It's almost like a season 3B. So season 2B. It's set between season 2 and season 3, and it's Vicki and Stephen, and it's a really strong season. It's a 16 episode series, and I'd really recommend if you're looking for kind of a longer listen, like almost like a mini season. I'd recommend that. There's a great Dalek story. There's a great story about Vicki to end the whole series off. She didn't get a lot of character development on screen, so we get to see it here on audio. It's very strong. Then, of course, there's the First Doctor Adventures with David Bradley, which is almost like a season 1B. It's set between season 1 and season 2, with that original TARDIS crew played by the cast of An Adventure in Space and Time. There's some really lovely, strong kind of 1950s, 60s sci-fi stories in there. You can pick up any box set in any order. There's a great Dalek story in there that kind of explains some of the, how the Daleks came back after the end of the Daleks. It fixes some of those problems. It's some really lovely stories in there. Some great potential in there. It feels very evocative of the era. All the cast kind of speak with RP to kind of imagine that it's back then. And if you're looking again for a mini season, essentially buy them all in order, listen to them in order, and they all lead into each other like the original season did. So again, you don't have to watch, Keys of Marinus before the Aztecs and the Sensorites, for example, but they do lead into each other. But so you can listen to them in isolation, but if you wanted to have it as a longer experience of a season, you can listen to them back to back. Now, what's interesting, and I'll say this in a few of my videos now, is that Big Finish started in 1999. But in about 2022, they decided to kind of do a bit of a reboot. There have been little soft reboots throughout its history, but they did quite a big reboot in 2022, whereby everything before is obviously all a part of the story. It's the same characters, it's the same development. If you've been following them along, it's carrying on nicely, but it was a perfect jumping on point for new fans. So if you are a completist and you want everything, possibly a good place to start is to buy the whole catalogue, the 2022 bundle, the 2023 bundle, and pre-order the 2024 bundle. But if you are just looking at certain Doctors and you're looking at the first Doctor, it is a nice jumping on point. The Stephen Noonan stuff, he's done 3 box sets so far, and they're set after the Savages, and it's his travels with Dodo before the War Machines. So that's kind of a nice sort of jumping on point. There's only 3 sets to catch up on, so yeah, another good jumping on point with a great performance of the first Doctor. So there we have it. There's my recommendations for first Doctor titles, if you're looking for it. To be honest, as I say, just hop on the first Doctor collections page, see what releases take your fancy, what companions you're interested in, what monsters you're interested in, what writers you're interested in, and just kind of, you can listen to any of them in isolation. But the ones I've mentioned here are essentially the ones that I'd recommend as a sort of longer series if you want to get your teeth into a starting point and kind of, purchase stuff and follow an adventure and character development. So that's my summary of the first Doctor. If you've got anything you'd disagree with or any other recommendations that you've got, please leave them in the comments for other viewers. But and if you do get into the first Doctor Big Finish, do let me know how you got on in the comments below. And I will be back soon with another follow-up video about the second Doctor.